Well, slurpty diddly do, my G's. How are you guys all doing? Hope you guys are all doing great. I've got a great little tutorial for you today that won't last too long, but it's really, really nice. And it's basically uh, making a drum and bass break or a jungle break sound larger than life through using the Serum 2 FX section in your plugin effects. All right, and I was just testing out this idea on a bit of a work in progress I've got at the moment, just a bit of a fun kind of tune. I'm going to turn this jungle break into a break which sounds more like this. So again, off and on. So great way to give your break more stereo interest and life and just a big feeling. It's a little bit out there. You're gonna have some wider stereo parts to your kick and things like that. Sometimes you might not want that. Sometimes you might want to keep things a bit cleaner and tighter. But in this case, I wanted to do something really like exaggerated, just for fun, just as a sort of challenge with the sound design to really exaggerate the break and make it sort of really larger than life. So yeah, let's have a little look at the break on its own, again without the effects, and with the effects. Okay, so obviously it makes quite a dramatic difference, and there are 5 effects used in total. And the first one is the trickiest one of all, and this is the bowed, and this makes actually the biggest impact, but this is where it sort of delays the break, so you sort of have like a delay happening, so it's you have to be a bit careful with it. If I turn it all the way up, if I have it right in the middle at 50%, you almost feel the delay, that it's sort of skipping slightly, You especially hear it if I turn the blur all the way up. It becomes really delayed, right? But I left the blur down, I think, around, where is it? 54%. And the mix is on 22. And I just toy with the direction and the range and the shift to get the exact tone of the frequency shifter that I want. But here, that's already brought it out and expanded the break a lot, and it's still fairly tight, I'm doing everything directly on the main break here. Next, I've got a chorus, and this one's 27%. Again, it gives you a bit of a skipping delay if you go too high, but with a little bit. Again, brings it out about another 5 or 10% at least. So again, larger than life. Next dimension from the hyperdimension. This one is only 15%, but let's turn it up again. At 15% off. On brings it out like another 3 to 5%. So what all these effects are doing is they're actually sort of enhancing the stereo image, but creating always different harmonics, because they have different algorithms how they work. So a little bit from each is like you really get this rich layer of harmonics from different sources. Next, the convolver. This one was really subtle. I've already gone so stereo at this point. So I only managed about 5 or 7% on the convolver. Plus, it gets a bit distorted and boomy when it's up too high. This one, but nice. It kind of gives everything a bit of a nice low end stereo as well, around 7%. That's the growlish on the factory coloration folder that comes with Serum. And then finally, I've got a extra bit of low high splitter distortion for the high end. 1.5K. And yeah, it's weird. The mix kind of, I found a bit of a sweet spot with this one. The soft clipping mode, the drive up fairly high, 77%, and the mix at 63%. And yeah, it's just a bit of a strange, just finding a sweet spot with both of them until it had this final effect where it lifts everything up, gives a bit of brightness, like boost, bit of power, like bit of a high-end lift on everything, up from 1.5K, by about 5 or 10% maybe. Maybe more like 5 to 7%, but yeah, still really, really nice last minute kind of tweaked for the overall kind of saturation and volume of the break. So the first effects were all sort of extra stereo harmonics, and then the last one actually just bringing everything up together. All right, so that is that's how I beefed up this break with Serum FX, and it has much more of a vibe to it now. It's already a nice break to begin with, but now it's got this sort of like over-the-top stereo vibe on it, which can be a bit problematic because I have really overdone the stereo in the low end as well, and that's why I've put on a couple of mid-side EQs here, just to sort of control a little bit the low end stereo information, so there's not as much as there was, because all the artifacts that I introduced through the effects in Serum would definitely have created a lot of stereo low end rumble that was kind of kind of weakening the sound essentially. So yeah, taking those out means then I can boost the volume again a bit more without all that rumble in. And there you have it. There I have created like a larger than life, massive jungly drum and bass break using Serum FX directly on the channel. Okay, a little bit of sacrificing a little bit of tightness in the low end to get this like over the top vibey flavor, but worth it for me in this case. So I hope you enjoyed that. A very, very short tutorial for you guys today because yeah, it's quite straightforward, but something that I would recommend that you try out on your drums to see what kind of how you can process your drums using the Serum FX and yeah, see if you get any cool results. Let me know in the comments down below. All right, that's it from me today then. May I remind you as well, if you guys ever want any production lessons, you can book in with me via the links down below. I also have mixing and mastering services available. You can just email me for that. And I have Serum presets, a great pack called Rebirth up on my website. Plus, I've got Vital presets, Phase Plant presets, and even a current preset pack, all made with great care. Some excellent sounds in there. If you ever want any, feel free to check them out on my website. Links for that also down below. All right, that's it from me today. More from me soon. Much love.